Happy Wednesday afternoon, y'all. What's going on? Figured I'd come up here for a little midweek live stream. I've got a busy week and a busy weekend. And aside from a couple of other videos I have planned, this is really my only time to get up here this week and talk to you guys. So, even though I'm really not going to be around to watch Super Showdown, I thought I'd come up and offer some real half-assed predictions on the show, talk about a couple of other things. I wanted to discuss a little bit of this past week's Raw and SmackDown. Jon Moxley, of course, and predict this stupid-ass pay-per-view coming to us this Friday. First things first, though, I want to say hello to everybody that's here and is going to join us today. We'll hang out for about an hour. The longest I've got to hang out is about an hour and a half, but I'll probably keep this about an hour, and we'll just discuss some things and, like I said, predict the pay-per-view and all that stuff. What's going on, guys? Everybody in here? Good to see you. Probably have a low audience today. I think last week when I did a Wednesday stream, I think that was the Moxley interview, and that was a huge audience. But today will probably just be a little bit so-so, which is fine. I'll leave this video up all weekend. But just to give you an idea of what I'm looking at this weekend, it actually works out because I don't really like this pay-per-view. I'm really uncomfortable with the fact that they're doing business over there and, you know, all the controversy and all that stuff. So I kind of wanted to sit this pay-per-view out anyway. But you know, it airs in the morning for me here in California, and I'm always home in the morning, so I figured, you know, well, I'll probably eyeball it, maybe do some live tweeting, and if anything major happens, maybe come up and do a short video on it, but I'm certainly not going to review the show or anything like that. Well, as luck would have it, it turns out that I'm needed at work, like, all weekend, so all day Friday, and then all day Saturday, so I'm really not going to have any time to even watch the show, much less get up and do a review on it or anything like that, so I'm relieved. I'm glad that I don't have to sit here and know that it's on and sort of kind of watch it but not want to watch it kind of thing. I'm going to be busy all day as a loud helicopter flies overhead. So at least I don't have to struggle with should I watch it, should I not watch it. I won't be able to watch it. I'll read the results. I'll catch some clips online. If for any reason we have a title change, which I don't think there should be, and I hope we don't, then obviously I'll come up here and do a quick video, a mic drop, or a live stream or something like that this weekend. But for the most part, Friday and Saturday, I'm completely unavailable. So the least I thought I could do is come up here and predict the show, talk about some other stuff, and then I'll probably be back up here Monday for my live stream. Also on Friday, the same day as the pay-per-view, or as the Super Showdown, there will be a short This Day in History on my channel as well. 20-year anniversary of a really fun Monday Night Raw segment. So stay tuned for that. Again, say hello to everybody here. Wheezy Wiza, what's up, man? Saudi Bag. Yeah, tell me about it. Reese Jones, I'm sorry. Tice, Mighty Mike, I did it for The Rock, Hector, all y'all. Still under 100 people in here, but whatevs. First thing first, before we start getting into Super Showdown and all that stuff, I want to congratulate Jon Moxley, who is your brand new IWGP, U.S. champion, won the belt at the Super Juniors tournament that took place, I think, earlier on today. Beat Juice Robinson for it, and I think that's fabulous. Thank you, Jon Moxley, for teaching everybody what the term independent contractor actually fucking means. Here he is crashing the main event of AEW's first pay-per-view, and then, a couple of weeks later, he heads over to Japan and wins a belt there? Yikes, that's awesome. He sported some new ring gear. I have not seen the match. I missed the whole thing. I wasn't even really aware of it until this morning, which is funny because I've got New Japan World sitting right here on my favorites bar, and I elect not to click it very often, which sucks. So, sad that I missed that, but I'll try to go back and catch the match. I did see some clips. I saw the replay. I saw the finish. It looked good. Looks like Moxley is truly reborn. I think he's completely refreshed and reinvented himself, and he's happy and ready to start kicking ass and wrestling. And now, you know, he's heading right over there. I mean, you talk about, you know, really making some waves after leaving WWE. Both companies, AEW and New Japan, have put him right on the top of the fucking mountain, right off the bat. You know, he wins a belt over in one promotion, and he crashes the main event and sets up a big match with their top star. You got to assume it's going to be Moxley and Omega at All Out. And if Moxley is still the champ, certainly the belt is not going to be defended over there, right? I don't know how all that shit's going to work. But anyway, Moxley versus White would be a good match. I'm sure that will. I mean, if Moxley's there and he's able to take dates over there as well, that's a natural fucking feud, you know? And a lot of people are saying it was his best match over there. It looked good. The little bits I saw, I probably saw a grand total of about 2 minutes of the match. He definitely looked like he was, putting forth a hell of an effort. Looked like a good match. I can't wait to watch it tonight. Hopefully I'll get a chance to watch it tonight, maybe tomorrow. But yeah, I'm real happy for him. Sounds great. And thank you to everybody else for the what's ups and all that shit. So yeah, that was kind of the big piece of news I wanted to open with first, was the Moxley stuff. As far as what we saw this past week on Raw and SmackDown, Raw, I was up here streaming on Monday. Many of you were with me. It was predictable. We could see this coming a fucking mile away. You knew with this stupid ass pay-per-view on Friday and Brock now teasing this cash in on Monday, there was no way they were actually going to do that. The only reason, or the only way I thought they could possibly do it last Monday was if they actually wanted to do a title switch. But maybe they didn't want to do it in Saudi Arabia, so they did it on Raw first. That was the only thing kind of making me wonder. But I would find it amazing if Brock Lesnar won 2 Universal titles in Saudi Arabia. Wouldn't that be crazy? So now that Brock has done his big cash-in tease, like I said on Monday, I think he cashed in his I'm a Moron briefcase. Because if you're looking at this, if it's real, you know, Brock Lesnar had the belt. The belt was his on Monday night. Why does he want to fly across the other side of the world to win the belt instead of just taking it right there and going home and not going to a show that he supposedly doesn't give a shit about? Remember him reading Backwoodsman magazines and shit on Raw? You mean to tell me he's down with taking a 20-hour flight to BFE to win the belt? That's stupid. So that makes no sense. And Brock should have just won it right there. But instead, he leans over the ring and he tells Paul Heyman Friday, which we all knew. I put up a Twitter poll, I don't know, 500 votes or something like that on there. And I said, are we going to see a successful cash-in, unsuccessful cash-in, or no cash-in at all? And it was like 90% no cash-in at all. Every single one of us saw this coming. So I didn't really complain about it afterwards because, first of all, I didn't want to see it. It amazed me how the fans were pissed. It's like, wow, no cash in. You know, I'm like, what? You wanted to see a title change? I didn't. I don't want Brock to win the belt back from Seth. Fuck no. Well, whatever they do to keep that away from Brock is what I'm hoping for. So whatever they do on Friday here, I'm hoping that there is no cash in and Brock either unsuccessfully cashes in or teases some more. You know, I think Brock should hang on to that briefcase and just torture whoever the champion is for like a solid year or maybe 6 months, maybe not the full year. But Brock definitely looked surprised when Heyman told him he had a year to cash it in. And he's like, really? I got a year to cash this thing in? You mean to tell me he's going to cash that in less than 2 weeks later? I think Brock is going to take his time. So I hope that we get out of Friday and we get out of Saudi Arabia with no belts of any kind changing hands. That's what I hope. And I think we would have had that last time too had Roman Reigns not got sick. But they had to crown a new champion and they gave it back to Brock. And a lot of people thought that was stupid. It should have gone to Strowman and all of that. I think it should have gone to Strowman way before he lost in Saudi Arabia. By then, I was already over him. So I didn't mind them hitting the reset button on Brock and have him drop at WrestleMania, which he did to Seth. And I think Seth beating Brock at WrestleMania for the belt meant a lot more than Seth beating Strowman for the belt. So I was fine with Brock winning it back then. I will not be fine if he wins it on Friday. I may have to be checked in to a rehab facility. So I don't want him cashing in. I hope the ratings isn't panicking WWE to the point, well, let's put the belt on the guy that's never here. And we somehow get out of Friday by hook or crook with everybody retaining their gold. That's my hope. That's really my hope. Backdoor Woodsman, that's funny. But as far as like the cash-in tease last Monday, I didn't care. We saw that coming. It was whatever, you know. The show itself, I didn't like. There wasn't much good shit on the show. The 24/7 title is, I will admit, is becoming a little bit more entertaining than I thought it would be. But I still stand by the fact that this cannot, an idea and a concept like this does have a shelf life. You cannot do this shit forever because eventually you're going to think of everything. You've already kind of thought of everything as it is. And the first version of this, the 24/7 title, I don't remember how long it lasted, but I don't think it was that long. What, maybe a year or something? Might have been longer than that, but whatever it wasn't like a long period of time. So this, I just don't feel like 5 years from now, which by then, you know, on average, you would think if this belt is still around 5 years from now, there will probably be over 1,000 champions, right? 1,000, something like that. I mean, if they're doing 2 or 3 title changes a night, you count house shows and shit, you know, the title will probably change hands at least once on the airplane ride over to Saudi Arabia. And by the way, I mentioned this on Twitter too. There was supposedly a 50-man battle royal advertised for Super Showdown. We saw it all over the place. On WWE's website, when you run down the card for Super Showdown, it mentions nothing about it. And at last check, there was like half a dozen names entered for this thing or announced for this thing. 50-man Battle Royal. They announced like 5. So I'm starting to think that whatever this Battle Royal is, if they even have some sort of a kickoff show and it takes place there, I don't know. I have a feeling this is going to turn into a 50-man 24/7 championship match, title match. And I think it's going to be all 50 guys pinning each other for that belt. And maybe in the end of the day, after we have about 30 or 40 title changes, you see R-Truth scoot out of there with the belt again. Because I think he's got to leave Saudi Arabia with the belt too. I mean, I almost think it's just like everything's on pause. They go over there, have the stupid show, and then they come back and resume everything. And plus, whenever... I think Carmella still needs to play into more of this 24/7 title, and I think she's even going to win it at some point. So I think R-Truth is going to hang on to that belt until she gets involved somehow. So I think he comes out. I love how I'm discussing who's going to fucking come out of the pay-per-view with the 24/7 title. But I think it would be fun if we had like that Battle Royal that was a Battle Royal that morphed into a 24/7 title match, and you had like 30 title changes, and then in the end, R-Truth escapes with the belt. That would be fun. So, but right now, I can't even see any info on that Battle Royal, so I don't know what the hell's going on there. The other thing I want to talk about as far as Monday Night Raw goes, because what was there to talk about? The Undertaker closed the show. Oh, I'm going to beat you, Goldberg. You're next, or whatever. Fuck off. I didn't really care for that. I want to say there was one good match, but I can't remember what the match was. Anyway, Raw was uneventful because the only thing they were doing is building and promoting the Super Showdown pay-per-view, which I don't give a shit about. But we did have another Firefly Funhouse, which took an even crazier turn. And now I'm starting to have theories in my head of what the hell's going on here. I sat here on Monday Night Raw and watched that Firefly Funhouse shit with you guys, and I thought I was on mushrooms. Again. And I'm like, what the fuck? So now he's... Well, what's the name of it? The Dancing Bray Wyatt. Now he's doing like the muscle workout dance, and he's got the old 90s wrestler outfit on with the baggy pants, the fanny pack, the Gold's Gym tank top, and he's doing some sort of a dance. He's got another mascot, some shit-eating pig called Huskus, which is an obvious reference to his first character in WWE, Husky Harris. He's got Waylon Mercy the Buzzard, and he had Sister Abigail, and he's had all these different, little pieces of his life and of his career, and he's given us like 3 completely different personalities here. The Mr. Rogers, and then the evil character with that mask. I don't know what the hell that was. And then this goofy ass shit that we saw on Monday. And I've been talking every week during the stream. I keep saying the same thing. I say, okay, this is all fine. This is great shit. I'm enjoying, for the most part, all of these Firefly Funhouse segments. They're wacky and bonkers as hell, and I like that. But all I can think about is what this is going to look like when Bray Wyatt returns to the ring. And so when he started showing that mask, I'm like, oh, he must be coming out there with the mask. Maybe he's going to wear the mask to the ring and then take it off, and he's the Mr. Rogers character, and he's going to wrestle in that. I'm trying to think of in terms of in the ring. But now I'm starting to change this whole idea, and I'm wondering if we're not going to see Bray Wyatt in the ring for a while. And I don't know if there's a movie that's like this or something. I don't know what reminded me of this, but it almost makes me think, with all this shit that's going on with Bray Wyatt, that it's all... What the truth is that Bray Wyatt is actually like in a mental institution, and everything that we're seeing on TV is taking place inside his head. Like something like that. Or a version of that. And I think it's going to be all some sort of a weird, kind of trippy mindfuck type of thing. And then when and if he ever appears in the ring, we might have 6 months of this shit before we ever even see him get in the ring. That actually might be kind of fun. When you're like, okay, when are we going to see him? When is he going to debut? Upping that suspense to the point where he could debut at any time. And provided WWE does it right, and throws him into the scene, and exposes him and brings him out, it can be in a big way and be a big moment and just relaunch his character to new great things. But aside from that, I don't know like where this is all going to lead, unless this is all some sort of a weird mind game type of thing. So anyway, let me know what you think about that and what your theories are on the Bray Wyatt shit. I'm just going to check our numbers over here. All right, we got about 100 people or so in here. Smash that thumbs up for me, because since we have a low audience, I need all the help I can get. So be a friend and smash the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. And Horror Man 77, thank you for the super chat, man. You're awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you to everybody, by the way, who's hanging out on a Wednesday afternoon. All 100 of you. Wow. Yeah, pretty low audience in here today, but hell, it's Wednesday afternoon. What the hell am I going to expect? I don't want to start predicting the pay-per-view yet. What else did I have on my mind here? Let me check out the wrestling news. I'm kind of doing things a little bit different today. I actually don't even have notes pulled up. I just had the pay-per-view card pulled up, some news on Moxley, and then, of course, I've got a couple of websites we're going to be crediting Fightful today, just kind of peeking at the news. Nothing too crazy. I will say this, though. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm sorry. There was one more thing before I get into the pay-per-view predictions. The 24/7, I'm sorry, not the 24/7, the wild card rule is pissing me off beyond belief. Now, for the first part of it, we all hated it from the moment Vince uttered the words. The minute he said this stupid rule, they immediately broke the rule and made it obsolete 10 minutes after he said it. So we knew it was horse shit from the word go. And I found it annoying, but it gets more and more annoying every week to the point where I'm like, why do they just not call it the wild card rule? Why don't they just not call it anything? Because on SmackDown, we saw a triple threat, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, and Charlotte. Winner faces Bayley at the next US pay-per-view, Stomping Grounds, and Alexa Bliss got the win. So you've got a Raw girl going over there for the wild card rule, wins a number one contenders match, and now she's challenging for the SmackDown title. It's to the point where you don't even need to call it the wild card rule. Just enough already. If this is what you want to do, just have the talent go back and forth, because that's what you're doing anyway. And some people are on top of this wild card rule, and they're keeping track of it, and how many people are flopping brands every week. And I don't think they've met the rule of 4 once. I think it's been over that like every time. It's ridiculous. It's just, oh my God. So it's probably one of my biggest pet peeves in WWE right now. It's something that they devised. It's a rule that they devised. That they clearly devised like that same day without even thinking it through. Some stupid Vince idea. Well, we need to get some SmackDown guys over here and Raw guys over there. Well, let's just create this stupid ass rule without somebody saying, isn't this dumb? Why don't we just do this? We already move people. You don't need a reason. Sometimes guys just go to the other show. It's not really a big deal. You tried the brand split a couple of times. They failed miserably both times. This rendition in 2016 felt like it might stick. They seemed serious about it. And you realize that big announcement was 3 years ago, right around this time. I think it was like July 2016. So we're only 3 years into this, and it really probably only lasted solidly for 1.5 to 2 years before they really started jumbling shit up again. And the shakeups, people were moving left and right. Why even do this, WWE? If you can't stick to it, the funny thing is, I think this idea could work if they stick to it, but they never do because they start changing their mind on shit. And then like, well, we have to now write a reason in storyline for these changes that we want to make to happen, and it just gets it fucked up. And then next thing you know, we're left with shit like this wild card rule, which just convolutes everything. And now I'm confused. And now you got Raw people contending for SmackDown titles and vice versa. I no longer know which shows anybody's on. Roman Reigns, who was moved to SmackDown during the shakeup, which I thought was the right move. He needed to get off Raw, go over to SmackDown. He can dominate over there. Maybe he will be a little less annoying to the wrestling audience if he's over there, giving the wrestling fans Monday night back to themselves. He's been on the last 4 Monday Night Raws, and he opened up the show last week. So why is there even this shakeup, wildcard rule, brand split, any of the stuff? Just get rid of it. It's so stupid. It's so gut-wrenchingly stupid. How they just must think the fans are fucking morons, which many of them are, but come on. They're not all that bad. And how stupid. It's clearly devised and written on the fly, off the cuff, spur of the moment decisions. Oh, let's just do this. How they have the confidence to put that shit on live TV blows my mind. For a company that's so concerned about their image, and how they micromanage everything, why is this the one area that they just do not have their shit together in? Because I'll tell you what, all the other areas, trying to figure out how much wrestlers should get paid and, nickel and diamond and squeezing every nickel that they can to make as much profit as they can, they're good at that. So why can't they just have that same sort of drive with their creative and their wrestlers and their TV quality, and the storylines? Yes, their production is great. I think they're more amazed with their own production values, I think, than their actual storytelling. They just like all of their, sweet ass production that they do, without any thought to, you have to have compelling storylines. Doesn't matter how good your camera and lighting is. If you have shit storylines, it's just a really shiny piece of shit is all it is. Rajab Singh, you are very stupid. First of all, I do not care too much. You don't know me if you think I care too much. Absolutely not. You've been around YouTube. Do I look like someone that's unhinged? Search around. I think you'll find some people a little worse than me. Yeah, and again, like to get their game up to where it was in the late 90s, when you're talking about their game, all you're talking about is creative. That's it. Because profit and money, they're making more now than ever. But yes, creatively, wrestling fans are not as interested. They're not as invested in the storylines and certainly not the characters. And Jon Moxley has done a great job of exposing this. Not only did he do the Jericho podcast, he did the Wade Keller podcast, which I did hear a lot about, and he elaborated on a lot more of what he said on Jericho's podcast, including a lot of WWE's creative fucking screw-ups and all the shit that they just put the talent through. And he talked about more in detail, about his match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32. I've always wanted to hear him expand on that, and how he was just frustrated and cock-blocked literally at every turn creatively in that company, and he's just happy to be out. How many stupid things they made him say, Roman Reigns say. You know, Roman suffered greatly from WWE's shitty creative, because you have fans that actually think this person is a bad human being. They want him to die. All because WWE writes him like a lame piece of shit with his stupid promos and a suffering succotash and him winning all the time and all this, when Roman could probably actually do quite well for himself if he was able to go out there and improv a little bit on the mic, maybe even be a heel, be a little bit hardcore, try to connect with the audience instead of Vince McMahon, a 73-year-old man, physically writing down word for word what he wants his top star to say. And then you wonder why the fans can't get behind this guy. You know, but instead, of course, like always, the fans take everything 10 steps too far. And they've taken a talent that's really suffered from WWE's fucked up creative and gets a lot of unwarranted shit from the fans, you know, which is what Roman Reigns. And you take that guy that already gets enough shit as it is, and now you have fans saying all of a sudden, because they loved him back in the Shield days when he was a heel and all that, but now all of a sudden, because WWE are idiots creatively, the fans decide to turn into idiots mentally. And they start saying, he can't cut a promo, he can't wrestle, he's green, or whatever other bullshit argument would they want to use, when the guy can cut a promo if he was allowed to. I'm sure he could. He might not be The Rock or anything, but he's not going to be Kalisto either. You know, he's a little bit better than that. He can have good matches. He works with everybody. His peers respect him. He always works hard, always takes a fucking ass kick, and all the fucking shit he put himself through with that feud with Strowman. You know, it's not like really up to him. You know, he puts people over when he's told, and he wins when he's told too. It's not like he's won every match. He has lost some matches before. Clean. It's just WWE's obsession, it seems like, with him, and this whole agenda of just pushing Roman Reigns and making them their focal point does get exhausting, and Roman Reigns suffers for it. You know, but unlike the rest of the fans, I don't really necessarily hate Roman Reigns. It's not his fault. It's just WWE sucks. You know, it just sucks. And fine, eliminate Roman Reigns from the equation. We did that last October when he got sick. Were things miraculously better? Was WWE better without Roman Reigns? No, it was the exact same. With or without Roman Reigns, the frustration level will still be as high. And I think Roman Reigns is like the scapegoat. Fans always thought, oh, Roman Reigns. They're like, no, he went away for a few months with leukemia, and the show was the exact same. We were still shitting on the show. We still thought it was ass. We still made fun of it. Still made fun of WWE's shitty booking and scratched our heads at their, you know, silly-ass promos and shit. Everything was the exact same. So with Roman, WWE sucks. Without Roman, WWE sucks. Either way. It's just where it is right now. One talent isn't enough to, number one, carry the company, and one talent isn't enough to ruin it either. And I don't think fans know that. Liza, a lot of fans care because we've invested so many years into this. Exactly. Knowing that it's an easy fix to make it better and just waiting for that day. We've seen glory days. Yeah, exactly. Because I've been watching forever. You have too. And you would think when we all talk and we discuss this stuff, the solutions seem relatively simple. You know, I mean, we're really, as wrestling fans, the only thing we're really upset about right now is creative. WWE has plenty of talent. They give us plenty of shows, content, affordable pay-per-views. Network's only $9. $10, excuse me. I should know that by now. $9.99. great specials and the 24 specials and everything else they do is really good. NXT is the best and most entertaining wrestling brand on the entire globe. Better than AEW, who's had one show, believe it or not. And as fans that have been watching, like I said, I've been watching since the 70s. I want it to get better. I wish it would get better. And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to get better. But yeah, if somebody's saying, oh, you care too much, I'm like, man, I just like wrestling and I'm sick of being annoyed by everything. I still think it's a good time to be a wrestling fan because with WWE's problems comes a lot of opportunities for their other promotions like AEW, who made a big splash at Double or Nothing. Talent like Jon Moxley leaving and making some big waves, winning belts in New Japan and shit. And, you know, that's what we need right now. It's exciting. There's finally other places to put your eyeballs. There's not just one. I mean, wrestling is so good right now. Imagine this. Wrestling is so good right now in terms of how much of it we have that WWE has an alternative for us underneath their own goddamn umbrella. We hate Raw and SmackDown? Fine, we can watch NXT because it's awesome. And every takeover, even the poorly promoted ones, like 25 last week, was great. Fucking amazing. So there's definitely been worse times to be a wrestling fan, but when it comes to the most popular and most widely seen form of wrestling, Raw and SmackDown and WWE and their pay-per-views, you know, we have been getting a lot of shit, especially creatively. And the talent can only do so much with their Monday Night Raw matches with 3 commercial breaks in the middle of them, you know, and they can only wrestle as hard as they can on the pay-per-views, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, they're at the mercy of these writers and Vince McMahon's delusional applesauce brain. So they got to go out there and do whatever he says and whatever they say. And Dean Ambrose illustrated that beautifully on Jericho and Keller's podcasts, talking about how you'd have to sit there and listen to these writers tell them what he's doing tonight. And I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? And he brought up a great point. One of the best points he made in that podcast was that when you look at guys, and he talked about a lot. He talked about the Austin podcast too, which is really interesting. But when you look at guys like Austin and other talent that got over primarily because they were able to connect with the audience verbally, guys like The Rock, guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin, maybe even Mick Foley to a degree, guys that were allowed some leeway and pretty much complete freedom with their promos. There were no writers in the 90s coming up to you and handing you a promo, even in the late 90s when you had Ferrara and Russo there and guys like that. Then you started having a few writers writing scripts, writing down ideas, helping you script an outline of your promo, but never writing it word for word. And I kind of gradually morphed into what we see today. Now we got 150 fucking writers back there writing for promos for people they've never met outside of work, don't even know personally. And what Moxley said was that guys like Austin and Rock would not get over in today's system. And he is 1,000,000% right. King of the Ring, 1996. Austin claims, anyway, in shoot interviews and things like that, that he came up with that Austin 316 shit on the fly. Because he came back from the hospital, got his lip stitched up after Mero busted him open. Jake had a match, cut a promo after about Jesus or something. They told Austin, he said, all right. And then after he won, he cut the promo with Hayes and said the famous Austin 316 line. He didn't have to run it by Vince. He didn't have to talk to writers or develop this promo. He just fucking said it. The Rock did the same thing. A lot of these, the Rudy Poo and Candy Ass, I think he made all that up. Maybe not Rudy Poo. He stole Rudy Poo from Iceman King Parsons. But that type of wrestler would not succeed. They'd be stifled. They would be held down. They would be invisible. There are probably a lot of Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austins in the company right now chasing R-Truth around for that fucking 24/7 title. And we will never know they exist because they're in this system that's never going to allow them to get over unless they still choose for you to get over. It's fucked. The whole thing is fucked. And I love that Moxley, someone like him, it's not like Moxley is, you know, Ty Dillinger, and even though he's great, you know, or some undercard guy that was never used, held down, you know, never got any opportunities, never used on TV. A guy like that leaving WWE, they're going to have some sour grapes. They're going to talk some serious shit about the company. When you have a guy that was a top star, former WWE champion, won every belt imaginable, a part of a history-making faction. Yeah, I know Dean was used weird from time to time, and they had him do a lot of stupid shit. That goes without saying, but as far as his spot on the card, he was one of the top guys. And so for someone like him, who always had a spot, always had something to do, provided he was healthy, he was on TV doing something, in matches, wrestling on pay-per-views, very rarely left off of cards and shit like that, and had a belt around his waist for many of his years in the company. So for someone like him to leave and then say, you know what, that place is fucked up, you know, it's great. This is what we need. This might be the beginning of the changes that will eventually happen if you have more and more of this type of stuff getting out. And now the wrestling fans are starting to hear specific stories about certain promos that we've all hated. Poor Roman Reigns has heard so much shit about that Suffer and Succotash promo. And Moxley told us a story about that, how he even knew it was stupid, and he had to go out there and say it. And he's like, man, this is fucked up. You know, so the fact that someone like Moxley is letting this be known and letting everybody know the problems that exist, and these are real problems that are going to continue to be a problem. They are not going to get better unless changes are made. So the fact that you got, it's a start. It's not going to change tomorrow, and I don't think it's going to be enough to get WWE's attention to where they say, oh, we got to change everything now. But it might be a start. And if you have more talent disgruntled, and that just means WWE is going to hold them back even more. You know, what one side effect to Moxley doing this is that this might frighten WWE to the point where anybody that they know of, like if I was a frustrated talent, I wouldn't be tweeting anything. I would be walking around that company like I was the happiest motherfucker in the world. And I would just wait for my chance to get the hell out without giving them any idea. Because if they know you're unhappy, they might do whatever they can to keep you around, add time to your contract, do whatever they can to fucking screw with you. So you can't leave and do a podcast and talk about how fucked up it is there. Guys like The Revival, Gallows and Anderson, and probably, I don't know, at least 20 other, if not more, pieces of talent. Let's say 24 to be safe, that are probably frustrated and bored as shit working for that company. So if WWE knows they're pissed, you know, and then they leave, you know, they're not going to let Sasha Banks go. Why? So she can go run her mouth everywhere? No. So this might help, you know, in the long run, and it might be the beginning. I'm looking at a picture of Dean Ambrose right now standing on the second turnbuckle, holding up the IWGP US title. That's an awesome sight. You know, that's an awesome sight, and that shows, that's proof positive what can happen if you are a miss or underused talent in WWE and you get the fuck out of there. You know, you can go out there and succeed on your own and wrestle and be a professional wrestler and be an independent contractor like Dean is showing us actually exists. You know, crashing the main event of one company's pay-per-view and winning a belt in another. Fuck yeah. Wrestling, y'all. So congrats to him. And I'm glad all this is coming out. And I'm glad that he's doing podcasts. And I'm glad that he's speaking his mind. And I've said more than once, you know, the CM Punk interviews back in the day, you know, he really felt like he had some anger. Moxley did not feel like he was talking with any malice or viciousness. All he was doing was just telling the truth and voicing frustrations with creative. He wasn't saying WWE's a big pile of shit, I hope the fucking company burns down, like CM Punk seemed to say a couple of times. He was just real nasty in some of the things he said. But Moxley, even though he was critical, very critical, you know, I don't think Moxley wants to see the company destroyed. You know, he has friends there, his wife's there, you know, he wants better for the wrestling, you know. So I felt a lot more, I mean, like his genuine feelings. I felt like we were actually hearing what he was saying without too many sour grapes. And he just feels liberated, free. Oh my God, I can say whatever I want and they cannot stop me. That's got to feel good. You know, our best friend, Baron Corbin. Remember? I think the whole reason he lost that Money in the Bank briefcase a couple years ago was because he was talking smack to some guy on Twitter or something. And they were like, stop being a prick, and we're going to yank that briefcase off of you now or whatever, you know. So you just always got to be looking over your shoulder. They control your life. They control everything you do and say. And damn, it's got to feel good for him, you know. I'm happy for him. Looks good holding that belt. New ring gear is kind of crazy. He's wearing some like short MMA trunks, which is weird to think of Moxley in that. But I've always hated the jeans. I always hate I hate Elias wrestling in jeans. Moxley, fucking Corbin, don't even get me started on his ring gear. Strowman, guys like that. That shit looks so uncomfortable to me. So he looks like he's wearing some new gear. He's actually like a professional wrestler now. A lot of people say the match with Juice was pretty good. So I can't wait to check it out. The finish was, I guess, kind of like a modified version of his Dirty Deeds. He almost like lifted him up a little bit. But yeah, looks good. Congrats to him. Is it about time to start predicting super shit down on Friday, I'm going to really, really, really half-ass these predictions because I do not care. The only thing I care about is that we don't see any title changes. That's all. I don't want to see anything happen over there. I want this pay-per-view to come and go without anything, and we can just move on to Stomping Grounds and get this shit out of here. And like I said, for those of you just tuning in who were not here at the beginning of the stream, I have a super busy weekend at work. It works out perfectly because I didn't really want to watch this show anyway, and I have to work all day Friday, and I have to work all day Saturday. So I'll be working throughout the entire weekend, and I probably won't have time to get up here and do any sort of a review. I'll probably read the results. If anything crazy happens, I'll catch the clips on the network or on YouTube or somewhere. And if anything even crazier happens, like title changes, Money in the Bank cash-in, I'll come up and do a short video sometime, probably on Sunday, about it. Otherwise, the next time you're going to see me is Monday for the live stream, aside from the This Day in History that I also have it coming to the channel this Friday morning. Oh yeah, thank you, How Easy Truth as well. So that's kind of what's going on there. So I'm going to miss the pay-per-view. I'll be looking at my phone. Feel free, if any of you are going to watch this shit, feel free to tweet me some results if you want. But like I said, I'm really hoping we get out of there with just a wrestling show, and that's it. WWE keeps hammering this annoying phrase into our head that it's greater than WrestleMania, or whatever the fuck they're saying. They're making it this big deal. Oh, it's going to be this big, extravagant show, and blah, 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 right? So, like I said, I don't want anything major to happen. Let me pull up the card here so we can start predicting that. I'm going to go right down to the bottom here. Like I said, first of all, because I don't see it on here, I am seeing no advertisement, at least on WWE.com, for this supposed 50-man Battle Royal that I believe is still happening, but I don't see it here on the website. I don't know if that's going to be a kickoff show thing or what the fuck they're going to do there. I have a feeling that 50-man Battle Royal is going to wind up turning into a 24/7 title match at the same time, so we're going to have two matches taking place in one, I would assume. I don't know if that means we're going to have two people winning or what the fuck's going to happen there. What I would like to see happen is to see R-Truth lose the belt and to see like 30 title changes in the Battle Royal. And then at the end of it, R-Truth maybe wins the Battle Royal and runs away with the 24/7 title. Like, wouldn't that be fun? Like, does it matter who wins this Battle Royal? Do we really need to give it to a young guy? Is it really going to be a feather in his cap? You know, if somebody younger wins, like, I don't know. Who the fuck would even win this? Like EC3 or something, right? Okay, fine. You give EC3 the win. Is he going to change anything for his status on Raw? No. So it doesn't matter who wins the Battle Royal, so why should we care who wins the Battle Royal? So we might as well make the winner of the Battle Royal fun. And I think R-Truth would be fun, especially if he defends the 24/7 title within the Battle Royal, wins it, loses it, wins it back, and then wins the Battle Royal at the same time. I think all that can be a lot of fun. That's what I'm hoping. What are y'all saying? Who do I hate? James. I don't hate James. Who's James? Oh yeah, We Are Pro Wrestling. And James. I don't hate you either. So anyway, that's kind of what I think they're going to do there on the 50-man Battle Royal. We've got the Usos taking on the Revival. I'm assuming that's for the tag team titles. Are they champs? Who the fuck are the tag champs? Oh yeah, Hawkins and Ryder are, aren't they? Okay, so that's not even a tag team title match. Isn't that funny? I can't even think of who the Raw tag champs are right now. Okay, Usos and Revival. I don't care. Let's go on that one. Let's go Usos. Usos over the Revival on that. Lucha House Party versus Lars Sullivan. Duh. We're going to go Lars Sullivan on that. Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. Again, I don't care. Let's go Braun Strowman. Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon. Roman Reigns 100%. Shane McMahon has kind of kicked his ass the last couple of TV shows, I think on Raw and SmackDown. So Roman will definitely spear and pin Shane McMahon there. And then I think he goes on to Stomping Grounds to face Drew McIntyre, because I think Drew spilled the beans on that on Raw by mistake or something like that. So we're going to get Reigns and McIntyre next. Reigns and Shane now. No way Shane's winning this. Roman doesn't need any help. Maybe Drew McIntyre is out there. He probably will be. Roman might get some help from the Usos. Maybe he'll get some help from The Miz. I don't know. But in the end, I think Roman Reigns obviously will win. At least he better. The Intercontinental title on the line. The Demon, Finn Balor. Or maybe it's not even a championship match. On WWE.com, it just says Intercontinental Champion, The Demon, versus Andrade. It's a fucking title match or not. You know what? It doesn't matter. The Demon does not lose in WWE, and I don't think he's going to lose in Saudi Arabia either. So I'm picking the Demon over Andrade in that one. WWE Championship on the line, Kofi Kingston against Dolph Ziggler. I think Dolph was kind of brought in, number one, to get a payday from Saudi Arabia, because I don't think he gives a shit. He'll go over there and make some money. And number two, Kevin Owens, I don't think is making the show. Kevin Owens is staying behind. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he's putting his foot down and he doesn't want to wrestle over there. We all know that Sami Zayn is not allowed to because of his Syrian descent. Kevin Owens and Sami are homies. Maybe he said, nope, if he's not going, I'm not going. I don't want to go over there. I don't feel comfortable taking money from a country that won't let my best friend in there. So I kind of hope that's what his stance is, but I think Dolph Ziggler is just there to give Kofi Kingston an opponent. And they're certainly not going to switch the title now, are they? So I don't see Kofi dropping the belt to Dolph Ziggler. I also don't see Seth Rollins dropping the belt to Baron Corbin either. He better not. I think Brock Lesnar floating around is a possibility, but whatever they do here, I hope that Seth walks out as champion. Like I said a million times, I want everybody to walk out with their championship reigns intact. If Brock is there with that briefcase and he doesn't cash it in, I actually hope, and I'm probably in the minority on this, I actually hope that it's just another tease. I hope that he brings the briefcase, but he doesn't cash it in. I don't know if I necessarily want to see a successful or an unsuccessful cash in, because then the briefcase is gone. And even though we all hate Brock, I do kind of like the fact that he has that briefcase and he now has the power to torture any champion for as long as a year. And he made a big deal when he discovered that you can hold on to the briefcase for a year. Why he would turn around and cash that in like less than 2 weeks later would be weird. So I think he starts to cash in and then maybe he changes his mind last minute, or maybe Roman Reigns comes out and helps out Seth, and Seth gives him a low blow and curb stomp before he even has a chance to cash in the briefcase, and then he hangs on to it longer. Maybe he cashes in to set up a big title match at SummerSlam for himself against somebody. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I'd be very surprised if Brock Lesnar won 2 Universal titles in Saudi Arabia. I'd be really surprised. And I hope it doesn't happen. So I'm predicting somehow, number one, Seth to defeat Baron Corbin. Now, don't forget, Seth Rollins is also like stupid injured. He was loaded into an ambulance. The moron ape, Brock Lesnar, after beating Seth Rollins into a coma on Monday Night Raw, elects not to cash in his briefcase and instead say that he's going to do it on Friday. The man that hates to be there, the man that hates everything about WWE, reads magazines during Raw, doesn't give a shit about the show, literally hates coming to work, does not want to win the belt that's handed to him on a silver platter. He wants to fly across the world, 20-hour flight or whatever the fuck it is, and win the belt over there. That sounds fun and stupid and unrealistic. So I hope that he does not leave Saudi Arabia with that belt. That would piss me off. So I'm predicting Rollins, even though he's super injured, and even though they have all the storyline reason in the world to take the belt off of him now, with him being taken to the hospital and now has to defend the title against Corbin, somehow win that match and then survive Brock. I don't know how the hell he's going to do it, but I predict he's going to do it. At least I hope he's going to do it. Triple H versus Randy Orton. Pretty good promo between the two, but again, I don't care about this match. I don't know, man. Triple H beat Batista at WrestleMania. Does he get the victory over Randy Orton here? Randy Orton is still an active competitor. I still think Randy Orton's got a little bit of gas left in the tank to do something. I think he's in a holding pattern right now, just doing minor shit. But I think he'll have like another kind of like title feud or program at some point. Is he going to drop a match here to Triple H, or is Triple H going to put him over to further solidify Randy's status? They've had a lot of wars. They go back a long way, 16, 17 years from the birth of Evolution into their several different feuds. Sometimes Randy Orton was the heel. Sometimes Triple H was the heel. I don't even know really who to predict in this one. Last couple of matches Triple H has had in Saudi Arabia, I think he lost to John Cena, and then he won with Shawn Michaels. Could go either way here. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. So I think I'm going to go with Randy Orton to RKO and pin Triple H. Why not? Undertaker. Also, let me go back. Unless this is like Triple H's maybe sort of retirement run and he's putting some people over on his way out, that could be a possibility too. Or he wants to win some matches on his way out. I don't know if that makes any sense. Maybe he beats Batista, beats Randy Orton, maybe has another match with somebody else before he retires and beats them too. I don't know. I'm still picking Randy Orton to win that match. But again, I don't think it matters, and I don't know why I'm spending so much time talking about it. It's just a match for the sake of a match. It's a match given to the Saudi audience and the Saudi royal family. Here you go. Triple H versus Randy Orton. Does it matter who wins? No. Speaking of doesn't matter who wins, Undertaker against Goldberg. Undertaker was on Monday Night Raw to cut a promo. He closed the show, had about a 2-minute promo where Goldberg is going to be next, and then they were advertising Goldberg for SmackDown the next night, which I thought was ludicrous. I'm like, why are they doing that? Why are they going to put him on Smack? Why are they going to put the two guys that have a match together and they've never faced ever on separate shows? And I kind of predicted right away, I'm like, Undertaker's got to be on SmackDown. You know, he's going to have to come out there and confront Bill Goldberg, or you're going to have to do a face-to-face or something before the match. That would be silly to have Taker Raw, Goldberg SmackDown. I just think that would be weird. And Goldberg showed up, looked great. It amazes me at this guy's age how good he looks. Talked a little bit about his match with The Undertaker. The lights go out, come back on. Taker's standing behind him. They do a stare down. Lights go back off again. Taker disappears. Goldberg laughs. And that was the end of that. So we got the face-to-face. We got the stare down. And now we're having the match. I think the match is going to suck. These guys are so ridiculously beyond their prime. And I don't know if it's 15 years too late or 20 years too late. I would say 20. Because by the time we got to 1999 in WCW, Goldberg's magic was starting to go away. If this would have been like 98 or something, that would have been great. So we're talking like 21 years too late on this match. Do I give a shit who wins it now? No. Because I know why they're doing this. They're doing this for a fucking payday. These two guys are probably making so much goddamn money. Which is why I think Undertaker unretired. Because he knew if he went over and made some Saudi Arabia dates, he's probably looking at $1 million a pop payoff for this. Goldberg, same thing. Do you think either of these two guys care who wins? No. They care about money. And that's why they're doing it. So I don't think it really matters to the legacy of The Undertaker or the legacy of Goldberg who wins. However, I think The Undertaker will win. He's got the bigger legacy in WWE. Goldberg was only there 1 year, and then he came back like a year or two ago for a couple of matches in a 6-month program. Legacy to legacy, it's Undertaker all the way. I don't think WWE is going to take a WCW guy and beat their all-time legend. I don't see it happening, even though it's happening at a show where I don't think it matters who wins. Even if Goldberg pulled off the upset, I wouldn't be offended as a fan about The Undertaker's legacy. Maybe a few years ago, if they did it 10 years ago at a SummerSlam, I might be upset that Goldberg won that match. I'm like, really? You know, The Undertaker's been your guy. The Undertaker's been your godfather of your locker room for so many years, and you're going to let this WCW guy beat him? That's bullshit. But if it were to happen now, I don't give a shit. Don't give a shit at all. But I'm still predicting Undertaker to beat Goldberg. And what that means for The Undertaker's future, I said it the last couple videos. I think at this point, I've mentioned time and time again, I beat it to death. I can't beat this dead horse anymore. I did not like The Undertaker's retirement, or I loved The Undertaker's retirement at WrestleMania 33. I did not like his unretirement. So at this point, since he's unretired, I don't think WWE should ever give him a main event WrestleMania send-off match again. You can't have two, motherfucker. You had one, that's it. So if you want to come back now, and you do want to have a retirement match someday, WrestleMania is out. No more. So, at this point, if he's already 175 years old as it is, what's the worst that can happen if we just wait another year and a half? And we get to Survivor Series 2020, wherever that is, and he retires there. 30 years to the day from his debut at Survivor Series 1990. I think at this point, since we've already unretired, you might as well catch yourself a few more Saudi Arabia paydays. You can probably get 3 or 4 more between now and then have one sort of retirement send-off celebration at Survivor Series in 2020. The whole show can be dedicated to you. You can have a match. Kane can be there. Everybody can be there. And you get like a Ric Flair level send-off, either at the Survivor Series or the next night on Monday Night Raw. To me, that's the only way you can salvage what The Undertaker, I believe, has done to his career. Hanging around too long, really just for a few extra paydays, taking the company's biggest show. They gift you a main event match because they're under the impression that this is it. They have 2 world titles under their company's umbrella, both of which are defended on the undercard in order to give you the main event, put someone over, and say goodbye to the fans. They do that, and then you come back. So fuck you. But at this point, you know, what's one more year? We've been talking about The Undertaker retiring for like 10 years. What's one more year? Just retire. Survivor Series 2020. What do y'all think? I don't care who his opponent is. Doesn't matter. I don't even care if he wins or loses. I just think that should be it. 30 years. That would be quite the... Because that's the thing. Is Undertaker really going to have this long career, retire and unretire, and do all this shit to never wrestle again after 29 years? No, might as well just wait the one more. Wrestle till, you know, you have a 30-year run in the company, and then hang it up. Finally. Forever. Go into the Hall of Fame and put us all out of our misery. That's my idea for The Undertaker. But just to recap, let me run through this one more time in case you guys are just tuning in. I'll go from the bottom of the card. I've got the Usos over the Revival, Lars over the Lucha House Party, Strowman over Lashley, Reigns over Shane, Demon over Andrade, Kofi over Ziggler, Seth over Baron Corbin, and somehow also surviving Brock Lesnar. I don't know how. I just want him to do that. Randy Orton over Triple H, and The Undertaker over Goldberg, and whoever is participating in that 50-man battle royal. I think it also is a simultaneous 24/7 title match at the same time as the battle royal, and the two are going on together, and I think R-Truth wins both. I think he loses the belt, and I think the title belt changes hands like 30 times in the match, and then he wins it back, also wins the battle royal, and escapes Saudi Arabia with the belt. And I actually hope the belt changes hands at least one time on the flight home. That would be fun too. Last week on SmackDown and Raw, they were creative. I loved it. When R-Truth was hiding on the table and Cesaro pulled it out, that was probably the funniest part of the show. And I thought it was pretty interesting the way they had the finish under the ring on SmackDown. You had the camera shot from under the ring to see R-Truth pin Elias. The referee counting under there, that was kind of cool. And that was fun. So maybe at the very least they can have some fun with that green ugly-ass 24/7 belt at Super Showdown. But like I said, I will not be here to watch the show. I will be at work. I'll have my phone with me. Feel free to tweet me updates and all that. But I'm really happy that I have to work. I don't want to watch it. It makes me feel dirty. I don't like this at all, that they're doing business over there. And it's just, So I'm glad that I'm not going to be available to watch it. And like I said, at most, if anything nuts happens, I'll try to come up here on maybe like, I don't know, Sunday after. I don't know when I'll be able to come up here. I'll try to come up here and say something about it, but likely not. It'll be on Monday. But that is going to be about it for me. I got to get out of here pretty soon. No, I'll hang out for an hour. We got about 5 more minutes or so. I'll answer a few questions and see what y'all are up to in here. 130 people. Oh, before I get out of here, will y'all do me a big favor and smash that thumbs up for me? I don't want to look like a jabroni. At least try to get me up to 100 likes. I would really appreciate that. Y'all will be the best. One little click of the finger. Hook me up. And I'm sorry I have not talked much about haven't talked to the chat very often because I've been talking about everything else. And that's another thing I want to talk about. I mentioned Kevin Owens not being able to go over to Saudi Arabia not wanting to, I think, because of Sami Zayn. Aleister Black can't go over there because he's got some tattoo on his back that they feel is offensive. I think it's a tattoo of a woman that like symbolizes equality. Can't have that, so he's not allowed to go to Saudi Arabia. My God, what a fucked up place. So that's kind of funny. So yeah, the whole thing is just icky to me, and we're going to have to do this like twice a year. We're going to have another one, probably October or November, and it's going to be the same shit. It's probably going to be tied into Survivor Series or something like that, and it's just awful. Yes, I love that idea. MMA Brie Bella being the one to defeat Shayna Baszler. Hell yeah. Yeah, I know Undertaker never really said that he was retiring at WrestleMania 30. I don't give a shit. He fucking retired. If that wasn't a retirement, what was it? I think that was Undertaker keeping the door open for himself so he can come back and make more money. You know, maybe he was just saying that because maybe he heard rumors about the Saudi shit. And, well, maybe if we get a deal there, I might have to go wrestle. So I'll never really come out and say that I'm retiring. But how in the world does The Undertaker main event WrestleMania with it not being a title match, lose, symbolically take off his jacket and hat, descend down to the depths and say goodbye to the audience to the point where the ring crew even leaves his gear in the ring while they're breaking down the WrestleMania set as a tribute, as an omen? ESPN, everybody else reported it as his retirement. He is full of shit. I don't care if he wants to pull this, I never really said it. You fucking retired, Undertaker. Don't be fronting, because that's what he is. I'll never accept that. Well, he never really said it. He fucking retired. I don't care if he said it. His actions spoke for his words. Delivering mail, listening to GoodMicWork. Sweet. Nice. Yeah, well, these shows are only going to be twice a year. Will be the norm only as long as the deal lasts, you know. And then if they do another deal, it'll be that. But it's not going to be like forever if they don't. I don't know how many years they agreed to do this, 5 or 10 or something like that. Maybe it's 10 years, 2 shows a year or something shit like that. So, I mean, technically it won't go on forever. But yeah, for the foreseeable future, it's going to be going on. Greg, that was just show, dude. Isn't everything they do for show? What do you mean for show? Well, then why did he do it? If it was just for show, it's not an excuse. Why did Undertaker take his gear off and leave it in the ring? For show? No, for retire. That's why. I'm not crazy. I'm watching the same shit we all are. You do that, you retire. 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. That's what I thought. Damn, that sucks. 20 shows they bought. Yikes, yikes. Naughty dead man. Exactly. He is a naughty dead man. Yeah, thanks for creeping them likes up a little bit for me. But, yeah, I have got to head out. I'm going to be heading to work here in just a little bit. Like I said, just to give you an update on what I have coming to the channel. This Friday, like I said, Super Showdown, I will not be here. I'll be at work all day. But early that morning, I'll go ahead and release it at midnight on Thursday night or tomorrow night for a June 7th This Day in History episode. It's going to be a 20th anniversary episode on a very famous segment in Monday Night Raw history. Maybe you guys can narrow it down in your heads, but I'll be up here talking for a few minutes about that. It's not going to be a long video, probably 10 minutes or so. So that will be coming. Like I said, Friday and Saturday, I literally have like 12-hour days working, so I'm not going to be around for much aside from some tweets. And yeah, I'll probably talk to you after that, likely this Monday for the live stream. So y'all be good. Enjoy the rest of your week. Make sure you shoot me a follow over on Twitter at GoodMicWork, because I will be vocal over there and I will be talking. And if you want to know something, or if you want a question, you have a question you want to ask me, or know my opinion on anything, you can check me out over there in the meantime, in between YouTube videos. So y'all have a good night. Enjoy your Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I will catch y'all for the This Day in History Friday, and then you'll see my face again this Monday for Raw. Be good. Peace.